What if the thing you have been told to focus on your entire financial life investment returns is actually one of the least important variables determining whether your retirement succeeds or fails? What if the smartest retirees figured something out decades ago that the financial industry has a powerful financial incentive to keep you from discovering? Because if you discover it the way they discovered it, everything about how you approach retirement planning changes completely. And the financial services industry loses billions of dollars in fees and attention. Stay with me because this chapter changes everything. Here is a truth that the financial services industry spends billions of dollars per year preventing you from fully internalizing. Over a 30-year retirement, the difference between a 6% average annual investment return and an 8% average annual investment return on a $1 million portfolio is significant, approximately $1.6 million over 30 years. That sounds enormous, and it is. But here is what the industry never puts next to that number for comparison. The difference between retiring at 62 versus 67.5 additional working years of maximum contributions, combined with 5 fewer years of portfolio withdrawals, can produce a portfolio difference of $800,000 to $1.2 million on a typical American retirement savers account. The difference between paying 1.2% in annual investment fees versus 0.05% in index fund fees over 30 years on a $1 million portfolio exceeds $300,000. The difference between an optimized Social Security claiming strategy and a default claiming strategy can exceed $150,000 in lifetime benefits for a married couple. The difference between proper tax planning, Roth conversions, withdrawal sequencing, capital gains management, and no tax planning can save a retiree in this wealth range $200,000 to $400,000 in lifetime taxes. Every single one of those numbers is larger than or comparable to the impact of chasing superior investment returns. And every single one of those variables is entirely within your control in a way that investment returns are fundamentally not. You cannot control what the market does next year. You cannot control whether your fund manager beats his benchmark. You cannot control macroeconomic forces, geopolitical events, or Federal Reserve policy decisions. But you can control when you retire. You can control what you pay in fees. You can control when you claim Social Security. You can control your tax strategy. You can control the 5 things that brilliant retirees focus on. The investment illusion keeps millions of Americans staring at portfolio screens while the real determinants of their retirement security go completely unmanaged. The smartest retirees saw through that illusion, and in the next 5 chapters we are going to examine exactly what they focus on instead. The first thing brilliant retirees focus on instead of investments is something so fundamental and so consistently undervalued that most financial advisors spend less than 10 minutes discussing it with their clients. And it is worth more than almost any investment decision you will ever make. Ask most pre-retirees what they think about more their investment portfolio or their retirement spending plan, and almost every single one will say their portfolio. They can tell you their asset allocation to the nearest percentage point. They can tell you their expected annual return. They can name every fund in their 401k. But ask them to walk you through their detailed month-by-month retirement spending architecture, and most of them go quiet. And that silence, that gap between investment obsession and spending clarity, is where most retirement plans quietly fall apart. Brilliant retirees understand something that most pre-retirees spend their entire working life missing. Your retirement spending plan is not something you figure out after you retire. It is something you engineer, test, refine, and perfect in the years before retirement, so that the moment you stop receiving a paycheck, you already know with complete precision where every dollar goes and why. The spending architecture is not a budget. Budgets are reactive. Spending architecture is proactive. It is a deliberate design of how your retirement income flows through your life in a way that maximizes security, flexibility, and genuine quality of living simultaneously. The spending architecture that brilliant retirees build has three distinct layers that work together to create both stability and freedom throughout a retirement that could last 30 years or more. The first layer is the essential expense foundation. These are the non-negotiable costs of maintaining your retirement life: housing, healthcare, food, utilities, insurance, transportation, and any debt obligations. Brilliant retirees know this number to the dollar, and they ensure it is covered entirely by guaranteed income sources, Social Security, pension payments, or income annuities, so that market volatility never threatens their ability to meet basic living costs under any economic scenario. The second layer is the lifestyle expense envelope. This covers travel, dining, entertainment, hobbies, gifts, charitable giving, and the experiences that make retirement genuinely fulfilling rather than merely financially survivable. This layer is funded from portfolio withdrawals and is deliberately designed with flexibility built in, meaning it can be reduced during market downturns without impacting the essential expense foundation below it. The third layer is the legacy and contingency reserve. This covers unexpected major expenses, healthcare emergencies, home repairs, family financial needs, and eventual wealth transfer goals. Brilliant retirees never commingle this layer with their lifestyle spending envelope, because doing so creates the illusion of more spending flexibility than actually exists safely. The retirees who obsess over their investment returns but never build this three-layer spending architecture enter retirement flying blind. The retirees who build the architecture enter retirement with complete clarity about where they stand financially on any given day, regardless of what the market is doing. Spending clarity is worth more than alpha. Every time. The spending architecture gives you clarity. But focus number 2 gives brilliant retirees something even more powerful: complete control over one of the largest single expenses of their entire retirement. 2 of the 5 things brilliant retirees focus on instead of investments have something deeply important in common. Both of them are invisible on most retirement planning spreadsheets. Both of them grow more expensive and more complex with every passing year. And both of them, when properly managed, can save a retiree in the $2 to $3 million range more money than a decade of above-average investment returns. One is taxes. The other is healthcare. And the way brilliant retirees handle both of them is nothing short of masterful. Focus number 2 for brilliant retirees is comprehensive tax strategy. Not annual tax filing, but a multi-decade proactive tax management plan that begins years before retirement and continues as a living dynamic strategy throughout the entire retirement period. The centerpiece of this strategy for most retirees in the $1 to $3 million range is Roth conversion planning. The period between retirement and age 73, when required minimum distributions begin, represents a critical tax planning window during which many retirees experience their lowest marginal income tax rates of their adult lives. Brilliant retirees use this window aggressively converting strategic amounts from traditional IRA and 401k accounts into Roth accounts each year, paying taxes now at lower rates, and building a growing pool of completely tax-free income for the later retirement years when RMDs would otherwise force large taxable withdrawals at higher rates. The lifetime tax savings from a well-executed 10-year Roth conversion strategy can easily exceed $200,000 for a retiree with a $2 million traditional IRA, dwarfing the impact of most investment optimization strategies. The second component of brilliant retirement tax strategy is withdrawal sequencing, drawing from taxable accounts, traditional retirement accounts, and Roth accounts in a specific order, designed to minimize lifetime tax burden while maximizing sustainable spending. The sequence in which you draw from different account types can make a difference of tens of thousands of dollars annually in after-tax retirement income. Focus number 3 is healthcare planning, treated as a financial strategy rather than a healthcare decision. Brilliant retirees build a specific healthcare financial plan that addresses four distinct challenges: the pre-Medicare coverage gap for early retirees, annual Medicare premium optimization including IRMA surcharge management, long-term care funding strategy, and a dedicated healthcare reserve fund. The retiree who manages both tax strategy and healthcare planning with the same precision they apply to investment selection does not need superior investment returns. They have already found their superior returns in the hundreds of thousands of dollars they keep instead of paying unnecessarily to the government and to an unplanned healthcare system. Tax strategy and healthcare planning protect what you have built. But focus number 4 is what brilliant retirees use to guarantee their income never runs out no matter how long they live or what the market does. Here is the retirement fear that financial surveys consistently identify as the #1 anxiety of Americans approaching retirement. Not running out of health, not losing relationships, not losing purpose, running out of money. The fear of outliving your savings, of being 84 years old with 10 years of life ahead and watching the account balance approach zero. Brilliant retirees do not have this fear, not because they have more money than everyone else, but because they built something specific into their retirement income structure that mathematically eliminates the possibility of running out. Let me show you exactly what that is. The fourth thing brilliant retirees focus on instead of obsessing over investment returns is what financial planners call income flooring. The deliberate construction of a guaranteed income base that covers essential living expenses completely and permanently, regardless of market conditions, portfolio performance, or how long the retiree lives. The concept of income flooring rests on a simple but powerful insight. A retiree with enough guaranteed income to cover all essential expenses can hold their investment portfolio through any market downturn without panic, without forced selling, and without the kind of emotional decision-making that destroys long-term portfolio performance. The investment portfolio becomes a growth vehicle and a lifestyle enhancer rather than a survival mechanism. And growth vehicles held patiently through market cycles produce dramatically better long-term outcomes than survival mechanisms liquidated during downturns. Brilliant retirees build their income floor from 3 primary sources coordinated with deliberate precision. The first source is Social Security, optimized through strategic claiming decisions that maximize lifetime benefits. For most married couples, the optimal strategy involves the higher-earning spouse delaying their claim to age 70 to lock in the maximum possible monthly benefit, which also serves as the survivor benefit protecting the lower-earning spouse for the rest of their life. The lifetime value difference between a default Social Security claiming decision and an optimized one can exceed $150,000 for a married couple with average life expectancies. The second income floor source is pension income where available. For retirees with access to a defined benefit pension, the coordination of pension start date, Social Security claiming strategy, and portfolio withdrawal timing is one of the highest value financial planning exercises available. The third income floor source that brilliant retirees carefully evaluate is the income annuity, specifically a single premium immediate annuity or a deferred income annuity that converts a portion of retirement savings into guaranteed lifetime income. Annuities are not appropriate for every retiree and not for every dollar. But for a retiree whose Social Security and pension income does not fully cover essential expenses, an income annuity funded with 10 to 20% of retirement assets can close that gap permanently and completely eliminate the fear of outliving their money. When your essential expenses are covered by guaranteed income, your investment portfolio becomes an opportunity, not a lifeline. Income flooring eliminates financial fear. But the fifth and final thing brilliant retirees focus on is the one that most surprises people because it has nothing to do with money at all. And yet financial researchers consistently identify it as one of the strongest predictors of retirement success. Everything we have covered in this video has been about money, spending architecture, tax strategy, healthcare planning, income flooring, all of it financial, all of it important, all of it far more impactful than chasing investment returns. But the fifth thing brilliant retirees focus on is not financial at all. And research from retirement psychology, behavioral economics, and longevity science all point to the same startling conclusion. This non-financial priority has more impact on retirement outcomes than any of the four financial strategies we have already covered. Are you ready for the final reveal? The fifth thing that brilliant retirees focus on the priority that most financial advisors never mention in a retirement planning meeting because it falls outside the boundaries of what they are trained and licensed to discuss is purposeful structure. The deliberate design of a retirement life that provides meaning, social connection, physical engagement, cognitive stimulation, and a reason to get up in the morning that has nothing to do with a paycheck or a portfolio balance. The research on this topic is extraordinary in its consistency and its implications. Studies from the Stanford Center on Longevity, the Harvard Study of Adult Development, and multiple retirement satisfaction surveys all reach the same conclusion. Retirees with strong social connections, clearly defined purpose, regular physical activity, and ongoing intellectual engagement live longer, spend less on healthcare, maintain cognitive function further into old age, and report dramatically higher life satisfaction than retirees who retire into unstructured leisure without a replacement for the identity and social framework that work provided. The financial implications of purposeful structure are enormous and almost entirely overlooked in traditional retirement planning. Retirees with strong social networks and active purposeful lives spend less on healthcare because they are physically and mentally healthier. They are less vulnerable to financial fraud and predatory financial products, which disproportionately target isolated elderly individuals. They make better financial decisions because cognitive function is maintained through ongoing engagement and stimulation. And they report higher retirement satisfaction at every income level, meaning purposeful structure delivers retirement quality that money alone cannot purchase. Brilliant retirees plan their purposeful retirement structure with the same intentionality they bring to their financial planning. They identify in advance what will replace the social connection of work. They plan how they will spend their time in ways that deliver genuine meaning and engagement. They cultivate relationships and community involvement before retirement so the social infrastructure is already in place when the paycheck stops. Here is the final truth that this entire video has been building toward. The smartest retirees in America are not smarter investors. They are smarter architects. They design a retirement life that is financially secure because they control the right variables: spending, taxes, healthcare, income, and purpose, rather than chasing the one variable they cannot control. And the retirement they build from those 5 priorities is more secure, more fulfilling, and more resilient than anything a superior investment return could ever produce alone. Build the architecture, control what you can control, and retire brilliantly. If this video changed how you think about retirement planning beyond investments, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel because every single week we bring you retirement education, this deep, this specific, and this honest. And share this video with someone who is working hard and deserves to retire brilliantly, because the 5 focuses in this video are available to every single one of them starting today.